Assalamu alaikum, guys. I hope you guys are doing well. So I'm going to do a really quick review of everything we've covered so far. If you want a detailed review, please refer back to your notes and your packets. All the information is there. All the information you've already had and we've already gone through. This is just a really fast track review, okay? All right, so one of the first things we covered in class was maps, okay? We did a really quick activity of what you remember of a world map, and then we kind of labeled this continental world map and see what we can figure out, what we remember from past years, and what we can learn. Okay, and this was a great introduction basically to what we're going to do further on in the year, which was map quizzes and making sure we know which country the continents are in. Okay, so we talked about how maps are visual representations of an area. And we talked about how maps have a map key or a legend that basically kind of explains the symbols on the map. Okay. Then we did a small activity to draw a map of the school. Now, this is a very enlightening activity because we had learned from this activity that even though we all drew the same place, the maps were a bit different. Every single map was different. And then we kind of talked about why that is, right? So everyone has a different point of view. Okay, every single map had a different point of view. Maybe somebody has a sibling in elementary school, so they're familiar with how that wing looks like. Maybe they don't, and they have no idea what that wing looks like, and it didn't show on their maps. Or maybe someone has helped Sister Ghazala or Sister Kathy back in the storage room, so they know that it's there. And then other people didn't even know that there was a storage room, and they put classrooms back there because they don't know, right? So it was their point of view of what our school would look like, okay? And we kind of talked about how maps are accounts of how the person who created the map sees the place they are representing. It is not the actual place, but rather it is someone's description of the place, okay? We talked about how maps are influenced by the cartographer. Remember, the cartographer is a person who draws maps. The cartographer's point of view, their knowledge, their skill, their purpose, and their beliefs of that place, right? So a map is an account of a visual area. Okay, just like historical account is someone's point of view of an event, which we'll talk about later, a map is their point of view or their account of a place. Okay, so when we talked about photographers, how they create an image of a place, it's basically from their perspective. Okay, an account is a report or description of an event or experience. It's not the actual event, it is their point of view. Okay, so we looked at this small video about how the different maps and the different projections of world maps are somehow different than what the actual world looks like, right? And with that, we had a little bit of reading, okay? So when we looked at what our reading was, let me pull that up real quick. We talked about the different types of projections, and we talked about how which projection, basically what had happened when you take a 3D image and make it 2D, right? And that was what that video was about as well. If you need to remind yourself, please watch that video again. So using maps, when we take from something 3D, which is like the globe, into something 2D, which is like a flat map, this causes distortion, which is a loss of accuracy. Now you're going to have some things that are not reflected perfectly like it looks like in the 3D, right? So cartographers use aerial photographs and satellite images to help create maps. Aerial photographs are pictures of the Earth's surface taken from the air. So anywhere in the clouds, they're taking a picture of the surface, right? Satellite images are pictures of the Earth's surface taken from the orbit, so in space, above the air, okay? And cartographers use both these sources. Now, I tested you guys on what GIS was, which if you had taken good notes, it was in bold, it was right there for you to see. It stands for Geographic Information Systems. This links information to location from satellites around the world. They're used by the military, they're used by map makers. Google Maps is an example of a GIS. And then in the video, they talked about which type of map is used in Google Maps and why. So if you don't remember, it is the Mercator projection. They use the Mercator projection for Google Maps. Now, we talked about the problems with Mercator projection, however, it distorts size. So in the video and in your reading, it talked about how Greenland was the same size as Africa when it comes to Mercator projections. Is that true in real life? No, it is not. Okay. However, they use this map because it's good for navigating. Back in the day, they used to use ships to go from one country to another. And Mercator projection was really good at keeping the navigation accurate. Now, that's also the same reason why they use it for Google Maps, because when you're getting directions somewhere, it's still good for navigating. Okay? All right, so the next projection is the equal area or Gall-Peters projection. And this projection basically keeps the countries the correct size. So basically Africa is larger than Greenland in real life, and that shows on this map, but the shape is not the same. It's not the same as in real life, okay? So that was the problem with that. That was the distortion with that kind of map. Then we had, the reading said that Robinson projection is the most accurate in distance, size, and shape. Most of the maps, world maps that you see in your classrooms and stuff, this is what they use. And then the last projection that they talked about in the video, this projection was not in the reading, but it was in the video, is the Winkel-Tripel projection. The distortion is in the shape of the world. So the countries and everything inside the world is accurate shape and size, but the shape of the world kind of looks a little different. Now, if you need a refresher, a reminder, a more detailed reminder of that, please go back and watch the video. Remember that everything's on the blog. All of these slides are on the blog for you to go back and refer to refresh for your quiz or anything other that you need to refresh for. Thank you.